Hey guys, it's Jade from Boho Bookworm. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing the mid-year check-in tag, which was created by Harriet Rosie and Dane Reeds. I was tagged by Harriet. Question number 1 is, how many books have you read this year? And I have read 38, so I'm catching up to you, Harriet. Question number 2 is, what's your favourite book that you have read so far this year? My choices were between Lie to Me by J.T. Ellison and Lies She Told by Kate Oliman. So you kind of see there's a bit of a theme here. I did go with Lies She Told by Kate Oliman. It was astoundingly good. This is a book about a girl called Liza. She's a struggling writer. She's got 30 days to write a best-selling novel that's hopefully just going to get her back on track with her life. But in the meantime, she's also having some personal issues. She's trying to have a baby with her husband, but her husband's really distracted because his best friend's disappeared. There's also a woman called Beth, and she is married, she's got a baby with her husband, but she starts to think that maybe the husband's cheating on her, so she tries to catch them in the act because her entire life she's built is just completely ruined. But before she knows what she's doing, she's tossing her husband's mistress into the river. Beth is Liza's main character in her novel, but it's also very interestingly woven because it's almost like, well, it is like Liza's alter ego is Beth. And you just have to stay very focused when you read this book because it can get extremely confusing if you don't pay attention. This is what the author is intending to make us feel though, because she wants the line between reality and fiction to blur. Question number 3 is, what is the most disappointing book that you've read this year so far? I could have chosen Chalkman by C.J. Tudor, but I have decided in this video to try and talk about some books that I haven't really spoken much about on this channel. So for this one I chose Voyager by Diana Gabaldon. This is the 3rd book in the Outlander series. I adored Outlander so much. It was definitely my favourite read of, I think it was like 2016 that I read that, and I loved it. I was, however, very hesitant to pick up the other books in the series because, you know, like series in general, that the other books just never as good as the first. And I was honestly really disappointed with Dragonfly and Amber. I hated it. It was so boring, and just for such a big chunky book, I just felt like ugh, compared to Outlander. So I was really hesitant to pick up Voyager. And though I feel like Diana Gabaldon definitely redeemed herself in Voyager, it still just wasn't as good as Outlander. Nothing ever will be, let's be honest. I did love the banter shared between Claire and Jamie. Their relationship is just stunning. Like, it's a lot of fun. Those two are just a wonderful couple that I adore to read about. I almost felt like I was getting like whiplash from the amount of manic scenes in this book. It was just constant drama and craziness, which it kind of got a bit tiring after a while, to be fair. Question number 4 is, what is the genre you've read most this year? And for me that is definitely thriller, no surprise there. Question number 5 is, who is your new favourite author that you've discovered this year? I had a look and I have mostly read Claire McIntosh. I've read all 3 of her books this year, and while I do absolutely love her to bits, her debut novel is the best out of all of them, I must say, even though I've only read 2 books by this author and the second book was not nearly as good, it was a far cry from it, I still think I prefer B.A. Paris, who wrote Behind Closed Doors. This book was fabulous. It was really difficult to not include this one in my mid-year best books 2018 because it really was up there with the best of the best, but I must say I will literally read anything that this author comes out with, definitely. Question number 6 is, what is the most surprisingly good book that you have read this year? Again, I could have said something that I've spoken about previously on this channel, but I've decided to venture off a little bit different and actually not speak about a thriller book for once. What? So even though I know that this book has been getting raving reviews, I just didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I did, and that is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. This book is just such a perfect balance and like a layered mixture of funny and harrowing. Honeyman really managed to weave in trauma, mental illness and loneliness into this humorous and witty novel that I've just never experienced anything quite like it before. If you've heard anything about this book, it's no surprise that what really sold me on it though is the character Eleanor Oliphant. She's just such an odd duck, poignant character. I adored her to bits. Apparently Reese Witherspoon is going to be doing the movie adaptation of this book, so I'm very excited to see what she does with it. The next question is, what are some of your most anticipated releases of 2018? I had to say here, I don't know a lot of the time when new books are coming out. I'm very slow to the party when it comes to that, but one that I have known about for a little while is the new J.P. Delaney book. I loved the other book, The Girl Before. It was fantastic. So this author it's a pseudonym, so I don't know if it's a woman or a guy. I think it's actually a guy, but J.P. Delaney is releasing a new book and it's called Believe Me, and it's getting published in July, so very shortly. This book obviously sounds right up my street because it's got a bit of like an infidelity element to it, and I really do find books with marital issues very fascinating. This book is about an actress, and she's really struggling. She needs money, she needs to live, so she accepts this job as at like a law firm, like a divorce law firm, and she has to be a decoy to kind of stray husbands away. She needs to catch them on tape with their sexual propositions towards her or something, so I really like the sound of it. What makes this book even more exciting for me is that there is obviously a grisly murder involved. One of the husbands, their wife is brutally murdered during their case, and so the cops then jump straight onto the husband thinking, oh my gosh, you've killed your wife. So now this actress is forced to kind of, I don't know if she's forced, but she's got to lure him into confessing what he's done. Another book that I have been super excited for is the new Caroline Kepnes book, Providence. This is quite different from her other two books that I thoroughly enjoyed, You and Hidden Bodies. This apparently has a bit more of like a sci-fi element to it, so I don't know what's going to happen with it. It's going to be very different from what I'm used to with her. I normally absolutely love her work, although I am not the biggest sci-fi dystopian kind of fan, so I'm going to have to see how it goes. I have heard from one of the girls from, I can't remember if it was The Shades of Orange or That's What She Read, that they really didn't enjoy it. I think it was Rachel. But yeah, so unfortunately I am a little bit nervous about it, but I really do like Caroline Kepnes's writing. She's just so, she has such this like effortless way that I adore, and she just managed to really creep me out with getting into the mind of a psychopath with You and Hidden Bodies. So I don't know what's in store with this book, but I'm there for it. This book is about a guy called John who in 2008 goes missing, and even after his parents have kind of given up that he'll ever return, the only person that still has faith is his best friend Chloe. 4 years later, John returns. He's got no memory of anything that's happened to him, but he's starting to realize that every time he goes close to the people he cares about, something happens to them. They get nosebleeds, they pass out, they start disappearing. Chloe and John start to try and investigate what could possibly be causing this. They've got this battered old book that John suspects is from the guy that abducted him 4 years ago, and that's the only thing he's got from that time he was away. So they set out on a mission to save himself and save everyone around John that he loves and cares about, because he's harming them. Another book that I am extremely excited for, it has already been released. I just didn't know about this one. I wish I had. I didn't even know about this case until this book just exploded. I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara. I am so ready for this book, guys. I'm hosting a big Instagram group read along for it on Instagram and on email and stuff at the end of the month. So if you want to read this, it's a true crime thriller, very gritty, grisly book following the Golden State Killer case, which is about this rapist turned murderer. He raped something like 50 women, and I don't know if there were maybe some men included in this as well, and he also murdered a handful, I think like a dozen people or so throughout California, and he was basically haunting California for over a decade. So this is all about this Michelle McNamara, her obsession in catching this guy, and unfortunately Michelle passed away before this book even finished, so she had some help finishing it up, and the actual real Golden State Killer was just caught just a few months ago, I think, a few weeks ago, so it's very exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. I am really glad that I left this book for last in that question, because the next question is, what is your next big priority for your reading? And I've decided that I really want to get more invested into true crime, so more non-fiction books, but specifically true crime books. I'm very, very excited to dive into it. I've been downloading loads of podcasts from Case File and My Favourite Murder. I'm a new murderino. So I'm here for all the new true crime fiction. If you've got any recommendations, please leave them in the comments down below. The next question is, what is some of your bookish highlights of the year so far? And I've got two, and it's really difficult to choose between them. The one is definitely, you know, moving to Australia, not really knowing what was going to happen when I got here with regards to, you know, my booktube channel and my bookstagram pages, but I knew I wanted to, you know, continue it and invest my time in it. But I reached out to Penguin, Simon & Schuster, Allen & Unwin, Pan Macmillan, HarperCollins, Hatchet Australia, and I now work for all of them, which is fantastic. I get sent so many books. I mean, I think I've only bought a handful of these myself. So literally this is 1, 2, 3, 4 shelves, plus I've got a massive big TV cabinet stocked with books already, and I've only been here for, tomorrow will be half a year that I've been in Australia. So I'm really happy and excited that I work with some of the biggest publishers in the world now. The other big highlight of, you know, bookish wise of this year so far is definitely hosting a read along for I'll Be Gone in the Dark. I just spoke about that, so yeah, I'll leave the video down below where I announce this announcement, and yeah, just go have a look if you're interested in reading this. Honestly, we're just gonna have so much fun with it. I've heard from so many people that they were so creeped out they couldn't read it at night, even if there were other people in the house. Some of them just would not be able to even look at the book when they were at home alone. So I am ready for it. I know it's a bit weird that you are kind of getting off on reading real life events, and this stuff really happened to other people and we shouldn't be enjoying it in that way, but it's not like for enjoyment per se. I would say it's more, I'm so interested in it. I would love to study things like criminal psychology and get into it. It's not that I'm, you know, excited about hearing all the grisly details about these rapes and murders. I want to investigate cases and, you know, see this guy get put in jail, and I know that's not going to happen in this book, but because he got caught after the book was published. But yeah, I find it fascinating, and I love learning more about police procedures and how they investigate cases. I love everything about it. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to probably do a big discussion video about reading crime fiction, like true crime fiction, and just what people think about it, because I think it is quite a controversial topic. Lastly, I need to tag some people, so I'm going to tag The Shades of Orange. That's what she read. It's really difficult because I think that Harriet Rosie, pretty much I tagged everyone that I know, so maybe Roya Eve Reads if you didn't tag her. Read Remark, you read some thrillers, so I would love to hear your answers. And Natalie from Pickle Hearts Books, because I just watched your most recent video and you were a little bit upset because of the publishers of your novel just kind of mucking you around a bit, and I was just like, oh, strength. And yeah, so cheers to you, Nats, and I hope that things get sorted out with the artwork of your book very soon, and you're tagged, mate. So cheers, dudes, and I'll see you soon. Bye!